leaving DIA airport. Thought I'd share the love for Blucifer, the demonic blue horse with glowing red eyes, rearing up to trample somebody to death like it did its maker. I don't know if anybody knows the story, but the artist who created that sculpture died in the process when Blucifer fell on him and crushed him. So what a wonderful, positive, inspiring reminder of the Satanists who run government. Anyway, keep everybody up to date with my progress. I'm almost finished with the second part of the podcast. It should be pretty interesting. It's on the trench warfare of World War I, and kind of like a choose your own adventure sort of angle. I want you to feel and hear, sense, maybe even smell what it was like for those people who went through that. Primarily the American soldiers that were sent to fight for Great Britain and France against Germany. And I don't know, maybe we'll learn a couple lessons on history and what can be applied to the present. And make better decisions maybe next time. That's the idea. Learning from history so you don't repeat the same mistakes of the past. Anyways, beautiful sunset. I'll show you that real quick. Beautiful sunset over the Rocky Mountains. I was really close, but trying to drive one-handed and concentrate at the same time. What I'm trying to say. But yeah, so story of Blucifer, along with the other creepy murals. Little homework assignment for anybody curious. Just do a Google image search on the DIA, Denver International Airport murals. And yeah. Just about missed my turn. That was life-threatening. Yeah. Wasn't quite that dramatic, but yeah, some weird stuff in there. A lot of themes of sickness and death and war and destruction, little dead kids in coffins, and then this like kind of a, I don't know how else to describe it, but kind of a pagan earth worship utopia that'll come out of all that sorrow and death. New World Order, perhaps? Kind of cryptic. But yeah, so Blucifer is the horse rearing up, looking all evil with its red diabolical eyes, staring at you. It's pretty actually formidable when you see it at night. But maybe I should go back and take an image of that. Take a video of that. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna do that just for the viewing audience. I'm gonna turn all the way back around and go film Blucifer. Just normal, right? A demon horse. Perfectly normal expression of art for a taxpayer-funded airport. Just ahead of us, is the ever intimidating, piercing red stare, rearing up blue horse of Blucifer. Yes, be creepy indeed. And I'll park right here. That is a sight to behold. Is it not? Intimidating once you get up next to it. Creature from the abyss. These big red evil staring eyes. Exactly something I'd have in my backyard. Old Blucifer, taxpayer funded for Denver County, Colorado. Just so you can see, I'm going to jump down in here. Get right up on Blucifer. Give you a size comparison. That's not exactly what I was expecting, but that's his foot. Set up the camera so you can see just how big this behemoth is. never noticed that before, but it looks like he has scales. Makes me think of the kind of the four horsemen of the apocalypse, really, from a Christian worldview. It's kind of a strange statue to put up for an international airport. Once again, paid for by tax dollars. That's the kind of world we live in, I guess. Ran by Satanists, occultists, who apparently worship the underworld. So not sure how many people know the story, the full story. But the artist, I'll add his name later because it isn't coming to me right now. I can't think off the top of my head. Still in a bit of trauma after standing under Blucifer. Pretty intimidating. I feel like I'm gonna get crushed by one of those massive hooves about bigger than my head. But the artist, if you look him up, I will, beautiful sunset, all that red coming through. I'll add a link to his name later. He's also the artist who painted all the strange, cryptic murals at the Denver International Airport. And that's an interesting little field trip if you want to go on it. Do a little image search on Google of DIA Denver International Airport murals and see what kind of weird, occultic, New World Order kind of message you can make out. Okay, I need to go this way. Shoot. Talking too much. I got confused. What do you do when you go in the wrong place around here? That's the question. Alright, well, this is an interesting adventure. Now I'm lost. This place is kind of a maze. I'm not very superstitious, but this place in particular and all of the occultic symbolism, as you can see, the tent-like, teepee-like structure that makes up the Denver International Airport kind of symbolizes the Native American heritage, which, as the story goes, the place was built on an Indian burial ground. I'm trying to speak. Need some water is what I need. How do you get out of this place? Airport exit. Sweet. So anyway, now I'm going in the belly of the beast. This is interesting. This was not planned, but okay. I'll just go with it. Where was I? The history of the artist who made those murals of plagues and sickness and death and war, images of war, like a giant Soviet, Russian, whatever soldier slicing at a kid's head with a giant saber. All that. Oh yeah, the what else did I forget? The gargoyle statue. Gargoyle sitting on in a briefcase. Yeah, that's kind of wholesome imagery that makes up the artwork of the Denver International Airport. So the same artist that created Blucifer, which I just demonstrated for you, he has some very interesting art if you look into him. But the story goes, and I will also link any relevant news articles, so you just know that I'm not blowing hot air. There's a plane taking off. Just thought I'd share. It's pretty amazing when you think about it, how much faith we put into technology. Just the fact that that little plane is full of passengers floating way above the ground. So the story goes, the artist who both sculpted, created the giant demonic blue horse statue, as well as painted the murals at the Denver International Airport, when he was working on Blucifer, a pleasant little horse with piercing red eyes, the thing fell on him. The horse actually fell and crushed him. So, man, what a pleasant bedtime story for the kids, right? Look at kids. Look at Tommy. Tommy and Cindy. It's Blucifer. Right here. Look, kids. Isn't it lovely? Yeah, by the way, the statue fell and crushed the artist who created it. Wow. Great story, Mom. So yeah, that's... Plot thickens, don't it? You're talking about people who run our government and what they spend our taxpayer money on, and what really, when it comes down to it, is at the core of their beliefs. What motivates people who want to seek out power over others? It would make sense that they would worship somebody like Satan or Lucifer, who originally rebelled against the good and kind and wholesome and perfect order of Yahweh, the Creator, and doesn't care how he gets worship. He wants to be worshipped as God, but he doesn't care if he needs to use force in order to get that worship. He'll take worship in any form, whether it's compelled, forced, or whether it's through willing obedience. So it makes sense that those who climbed positions of power to wield power over others, their fellow man, to take from them to do what they feel is right, who have the audacity to think that they know better how to spend our money than we do, so therefore they need to take it from us through threat of force and use it according to their will, not ours. It makes sense that people that have that mentality, that kind of mindset, control freakish mentality, would worship somebody like the fallen one, Satan, Lucifer, who only thirsts for power, who doesn't act out of love. Whether you want to believe in Lucifer as a literal being or just a metaphor at this point, I'm not making the distinction. I'm just going based upon a biblical understanding of reality and how the world works and our purpose in this life and the next. So these bureaucrats, these control freaks, these people who claw, scratch, and kill their way into positions of power in government, it would make sense to me now, it's clear, it would make sense that they would worship Lucifer. They would worship Satan. They would not worship a God who respected individual free will, individual liberty, free will choice, and a God who wanted sincere, heartfelt worship from his created beings. They would rather have a God to worship whom they are servants of, they are sons of, who compels, who forces obedience out of people. And I think it takes a moment of crisis like we're facing right now in this nation. When times are tough and only getting tougher. There's a lot more down the road, people. This is just the beginning. We have been warned in the Bible, which I happen to believe in. There's more truth in that book than any other book ever penned by man. There's a lot more to come, a lot more hardship, and the only way we're going to get through it is by having a daily walk with God, faith in Yahweh, the Creator God, and the only way we're going to make it out of this world and into the next life through His Son, the Messiah. So I just wanted to express my thoughts. That was an interesting experience. I do believe that they use symbols like that and places which they think are powerful. I know that I, for one, worship a God that is much more powerful, but I don't think it's a coincidence that they did build that airport in that particular place, and they filled it with those kind of demonic imagery and symbols, and who knows what else they've engrafted within the materials that were used to create that international airport. To finish my thoughts, there's a wall of rain over here. It's pretty neat. I'm not sure if I can capture it. I'll try. I'm seeing a lot of flickering. So there's a lot of electricity in the air. Pretty atmospheric. A lot of flickering going on. The rain just started. So I'll finish up my video because I'm already up to 15 minutes and I know nobody wants to sit through all this, but during times like these when we're tried and people are fearful, I don't think it's a coincidence that Jesus said, after explaining all the horrors that will unfold on this earth, the horrible sights, fearful sights, he said directly to his disciples, but do not fear. Because in a time of fear, we naturally cling to leaders who promise us safety and peace and security. But if we understand the great controversy between good and evil, and knowing full well that many of these leaders in these positions of power openly and knowingly worship the other side, the dark side, the dark one, the author of sin and death, who only wants destruction and suffering. I'm going to change positions because my arm's getting kind of sore, weak. So I don't think it's a coincidence that Jesus warned us not to fear, not to have fear. Fear not, I have overcome the world. Because it is in times of crisis that all these little authoritarian would-be, wannabe dictators just start to kind of crawl out of the woodwork and show their true colors. That they are led by fear. And for somebody who has to control, who doesn't have a greater faith than what they see in front of their own eyes, what they see happening in the world around them, they have no greater faith. They think that this is one life and one life only that we have to live, and then it's done. So this is all they've got. I, for one, prefer to believe in an afterlife, to believe in a creator who is amazing enough, intricate, and loving enough. What I mean by intricate is the way he designed us is so infinitely complex. And an intelligence who is capable of that, what we see before our own eyes, out in nature, is perfectly capable, the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning of the end, beyond time and space, is where he exists. And he is perfectly capable of recreating us, if he so wishes. With that kind of faith, I don't think I feel the same kind of fear that someone who doesn't have that kind of faith might be going through. And somebody in particular who is of the controlling mindset is going to cling and scratch and claw, strangle out any other within their means leverage of control within government or whatever is within the sphere of their influence. They're going to grab as much control and power for themselves as they possibly can in a trying situation when their lives are at risk, including all of ours. So it's only natural that during a time of national crisis, there's going to be more and more of that. There's going to be more and more authoritarianism. There's going to be more and more control freakism. There's going to be less and less individual liberty, because liberty and freedom to somebody who can't imagine a world where they're not in control of as many little details as they possibly can be. Liberty and freedom to someone like that is a dangerous prospect. And for a psychopath who only wants to manipulate and control others for their own benefit, the less individual liberty, the better. The more power that they can have to get what they want out of others, the better. And that's the danger, the biggest danger and threat, in my opinion, to humanity during a crisis. It's not the crisis itself, but an all-powerful, overreaching, out-of-control government led by fearful control freaks. Just some thoughts. I need to concentrate on driving. The weather's getting a little hectic out here. If you have any comments, almost hydroplane, but if you have any comments, share, like, subscribe. I need more subscribers. Desperate plea. I'm risking my life at this point to bring you this message. Alright, I'm being a little dramatic, but it's just some crazy weather. Whew. We're living in crazy times, and I think everything, Mother Nature herself, if you want to call her that, is showing the effects of generation after generation of accumulated sin. Now I'm entering into the storm. Okay. This video is going to take an interesting turn. First I went into the belly of the beast, DIA airport, and sat under Blucifer, his loving wings. And now I'm going straight into the eye of the storm. I'll show you what kind of conditions I'm looking at. That is hail. I hope I don't get raining. Yeah, that hurts just to listen to it, doesn't it? I had to stick my head out and open my big mouth. That is ear piercing. That must be some pretty good sized hail. Well, like I said, everybody, we are entering into the eye of the storm. Things are only going to get stranger. Can't even see where I'm driving right now. I'm just gonna pull over. Gonna kind of pull over right now. Oh wow, that is insane. Big semi coming through. Pull over a little more. Living in some interesting. I knew that was not your typical storm when I saw that wall of rain building. How the truckers keep going. Not sure how they manage. Bigger incoming traffic. What a day, quite a day. These are all the cars behind me. Hold over. I'm not sure what happened to my camera. If I Might have got a little water in it. That's what it looks like. Looks like a ghost. Still cars lined up behind me. Yeah. Living in crazy times, people, and I think the Bible is our safest guide. And we can't trust in anything else in this world. And the very ground below our feet is unstable. Giant hailstones falling from heaven. We have one thing to keep faith in, and that is our Heavenly Father. And in my mind, when I see the evil out there, like Blucifer, the blue horse with its red piercing eyes, I'm gonna go ahead and leave. You know, it's really getting hard to see again. I'm gonna go ahead and take off. All right. When I see the evil in the world, that just makes me more determined and reaffirms my faith in all that is good and the good of God, who originally, when he created all that is, when he created this earth and all the life that's in it, he rested and he said, "It is good." At that point, everything was perfect. And because he created us as free will beings, there was always that potential for rebellion. Ooh, that's loud. I've got to get out of the storm. Definitely going to leave some damage to the car, but that's just a material object. We have a higher purpose, right, in this life, than to worship the little idols and trinkets provided to us by the merchants, corporations. So there's times when our lives are at risk, when our sacred honor, our lives, liberty, everything is on the line. When we face death in this life on a daily basis is when, more than ever, we realize how dependent on and how much we need our God, someone who's greater than we are. And all of our own ability to save ourselves been stripped away from us when we are thrown into fearful conditions and out of control events is when we need to cling ever firmer, ever closer to our God. And the best way we can know him is through the Holy Scriptures. I firmly believe that. I've studied many other religions, and not one of them can come as close to explaining on my level, which as a thinker, a rational-minded, question everything type of human being, no other religion out there can answer all of my questions like that of the religion of the Hebrews, the Old and New Testament, the book, the Holy Bible. So those are just my thoughts. I'm back to calm and serenity. The storm is behind me. That was pretty intense. I'm glad to have actually gotten out there alive. A few big rigs went flying past me, and the whole time I'm thinking, wow, I hope I don't get a T-bone right now, fishtailed, whatever. But made it out alive, and once again, praise God. You know, if we have God on our side, we really have nothing to fear. Nothing man can do to us, nothing nature can do to us. We don't have to fear the grave if we believe in a God that's loving enough, thoughtful enough, understanding enough, powerful enough to rewind time, to write our characters into his book of life and recreate us on that day when he comes again, on that resurrection day. Keep the faith, people. There are many more storms ahead, and I don't know, at this point I just need to chill out and focus on the road. The calm right now is, it's interesting how your mind somehow takes a trauma or a something to kind of break us out of our little comfort bubbles, to make us kind of reevaluate, re-envision the world and what's essential, what's important, put everything in perspective, and reevaluate our lives. And you know, what do we spend our time on? What do we spend our thoughts on? Who do we spend our time with? Yeah, if anything, out of all this quote-unquote new normal, new world order normal, whatever you want to call it, and all the events that are unfolding, fearful events that we've been warned of, that men's hearts will fail them for the fear that is unfolding on this earth. That's what we've been told. That's what I believe, and it's just a matter of time, and this is just the beginning. If anything, let's refresh our minds and prioritize our lives and get back to what's important, and realize that we're all here for just a short while. We're likened to grass that just quickly, as it springs up, it withers away. And a vapor, that's our lives. We're only here for a super short while, and then it's over. Just a minute, I gotta turn. Not get ran into. So let's keep things in perspective, people. It's my plea, my prayer, and let's come out of this better off. This is just another trial. Just another test of our character is what we should look at all this stuff going on in the world right now. I see a lot of ugliness in the social media, Twitter in particular. And let's not stoop. No, we do have enemies, and we got many of them. Trust me. Mostly in government. Let's try not to stoop to their level and degrade and devalue our fellow Americans and human life, because the more we become dehumanized and we dehumanize others, the less freedoms we're all going to have. We're going to be capable of holding on to that much less freedom, because we have chosen that our enemies are not are not as important as we are, and they're not as deserving of freedom than we are. And someday our enemies will think the same way about us. And in reality, we're all Americans. We have differences in opinions. As long as we're not like some representatives right now, openly treasonous and in political offices. As long as we're not those people who should be held accountable in a court of law, people expressing their opinions, whether it's completely off the charts, clown world, upside down world, insane, that's freedom. You know, people saying things that aren't popular, or saying things that you don't like, that offend you, that anger you, that upset you, that might on some emotional level hurt you, that's what free speech is there for. It's not for, you know, cute and cuddly, warm and fuzzy, pat each other on the back kind of preaching to the choir type of freedom of speech. Anyway, those are my ideas. I'm back to full speed on the highway, 75 miles per hour, I-25, overlooking these mountains. Great Divide, beautiful state, and it's an amazing, awesome God that we serve, who created this world for us to inhabit and to care for. And if we're responsible, and if we look to Him, He will preserve us one way or another. God bless everybody. Thanks for watching. We'll see you.